Beyond his parents and family, he credits his numerous Hoban teachers, co-workers, and mentors as part of a constant support system and a thread that weaves through his life and continues to expand and thrive. Few people can claim to have been a Hoban student, alumnus, volunteer, parent, and now the lucky spouse of a Hoban administrator. Over the years, Brian has come to realize and appreciate how holistically Hoban has impacted his life through the many relationships that he's been able to foster. Through his love of sports, Brian maintains a strong connection to Hoban and eagerly gives back to students in ways that he now recognizes as impactful moments in his life. As a student in the late 80s and early 90s, Hoban's Holy Cross core values had yet to be formally identified. At that time, the Holy Cross brothers were an integral part of every academic department and had numerous administrative roles. The school's Holy Cross connection was embodied through the brothers who walked the halls rather than displayed on the walls like it is today. Nevertheless, many of the Holy Cross values resonate deeply with Brian. Integrity, inclusiveness, excellence, and family are all central to his personal guiding principles. Growing up in Clinton, Ohio, Hoban wasn't initially on Brian's radar. He knew little about the school and only visited in the late spring of his 8th grade year. During that visit, he fell in love with Hoban, feeling an immediate connection and a warm welcome from those he met. Brian credits his teachers and coaches for his eventual development. English teachers like Brother Joe Laban and Helen Ferreras challenged him on advisor staff and in class to be better and to do better. Even after high school while attending Mount Union, he reached out to Mrs. Ferreras during difficult times. Social studies teacher Jeff Stetz, class of 1970, has been and remains a friend and mentor. Like many Hoban alums, Brian views Clem Carabulad, a former teacher and football coach, as the ultimate role model of a Hoban Knight. These individuals, among many others Brian encountered as a student, made a lasting impact on him, and they continue to serve as models that he now serves as a model and hopes to influence greater generations of Hoban students and alums. Following high school, Brian enrolled at Mount Union College, now Mount Union University. He played 2 years of football and earned an English degree. Soon after graduating, he returned to Hoban as an alumni phone-a-thon volunteer, calling his classmates, engaging them to support the school's fundraising efforts. While a career of teaching and coaching would have been an obvious choice, Brian began working in healthcare sales, where he's cultivated a successful career centered around relationship building and service. He left sales for a quick 3-year union working in Hoban's advancement department and is a director of the Hoban Fund, which we now call Alumni Relations. During that time, Brian led fundraising efforts to support Hoban and its students through endowed scholarships and the Hoban Fund. His goal was and continues to be to encourage as many alumni as possible to be involved in our school in some capacity. His volunteerism and involvement at Hoban significantly increased around 2010 when Tom Goodall, Jeff Stetz, Mike Considine, and Don Schubert encouraged him to be on Hoban's Athletic Hall of Fame committee. Bridging the gap between his love of sports and Hoban, Brian agreed and continues to lead that committee today, which we celebrate every other year. Brian leads efforts to identify Hoban alumni and student athletes and coaches who deserve recognition for their athletic contributions. As MC of the event, he researches, writes personalized professional biographies for each recipient. If you've ever been there, you know that it's absolutely first class. Brian is also the voice of the Hoban Knights, volunteering his time to announce football and boys basketball home games. He acknowledges his athletic involvement has taught him how to be a good friend and a teammate. He still has strong relationships with many of his Hoban teammates. He helps to organize the annual Hoban Football Alumni and Friends Golf Outing. He moderates the Hoban Football Alumni and Facebook group, which currently connects more than 700 former players, parents, and supporters with news, articles, information, and content on our athletes. For Brian, athletics isn't simply about competing, it's about competing together. He understands that each Hoban student has a lot in store for them beyond sports, and lessons that they learn through winning and losing are important. It's the memories and the friendships and the price that are priceless, and why he continues to be a part of Hoban each and every day. As the father of 4, Brian's watched his children grow up in Hoban as well. The older 3 followed in Brian's footsteps. Jacob graduated from Hoban in 2018, Logan in 2020, and Luke is currently a senior. In 2019, Brian married Catherine Perot and became the bonus dad of her daughter Violet. Catherine's position as principal and chief academic and school operations officer has only deepened Brian's involvement with our school and its mission. Catherine and Brian enjoy watching 9-year-old Violet as she grows up at Hoban in the same way that his older kids have. Being close to Hoban as an alumnus, a parent, jack of all trades, volunteer, they continue to energize Brian and they make our Hoban community better. It is my great honor to introduce you to Brian Souse, our 2024 Hoban Knight Award recipient.
Is this angle okay?
I always feel good about myself until I stand next to Chris tomorrow and I just work out harder. Thank you, Chris, for that flattering introduction. Much appreciated. Also, thank you for the auspicious beginning. I feel like, anything that goes wrong will be okay. Since you started us off, Chris, with that. Yeah. Everybody hear me okay? You good back there? Okay, thank you. I had a funny dream last night, knowing this is going to be at Fair Lawn Country Club, and here we are right on I don't know what tee box this is, but I had this dream last night that this event was outside, and we were all out there, ready to go. Everyone was seated at tables around the tee box, and the honorees, myself and my fellow honorees, we had to tee off. That was kind of like our thing. I don't know why, and I had to go first, so I grabbed the club, walked up, and for some reason, Dan Cody was heckling everyone, which isn't surprising, not a stretch, right? Dan Cody, that's something he would do. And I like I usually do when I play golf, and my buddy Ryan will attest to this, I get up and I can kind of close my eyes and think to myself, don't shank it, don't shake it, don't shake it, don't shake it, right down the middle, right down the middle. And I shanked it. So hopefully I don't shank this speech, but I'm glad we're inside and not out there in this beautiful weather we have today. But thank you for that flattering introduction. Really appreciate that. And thank you for being here today, and thank you, God, for this wonderful day and this fellowship we have together. Before I start with my remarks, I'd like to acknowledge my fellow award winners today. I mean, 4 incredibly deserving people that I'm proud and honored and humbled to share the dais with today. I mean, you talk about the Friend of Hoban Award and what it exemplifies and what it means to impact the lives of Hoban students by modeling the core values of Hoban. And I can't think of 2 more deserving people than Hank and Karen Inman, who just live their lives that way and exude Hoban's mission and its core values for everyone it's on display. So congratulations to you. And you talk about the Distinguished Alumni Award. You talk about two distinguished alumni of Hoban. You think about Derek Owens. Derek Owens, we walked the halls of Hoban together 30-something years ago. But even then, Derek, was obviously, just exuded leadership. Was a servant leader, the kind of person that you could tell was going to make a huge impact on his community and beyond, and he did just that. Just a first-class individual and first-class alumnus of Archbishop Hoban High School, Derek Owens. And then you talk about Dominic Rizzo, a pillar of what it means to be a giving Hoban alumnus, giving up his time, his treasures, and his immense and unique talents steadfastly for years and years and years. So again, my honor to share this day with each and every one of you. Congratulations to you. The Hoban Knight Award. I want to thank Archbishop Hoban High School, the Advancement Office, Kathy Reeves and her team, President DeMauro, anyone that had a hand in giving me this award. I don't feel I deserve it, but I'm extremely grateful for it. So thank you very much for that. And again, I don't feel I deserve it because I look at who has won this award before me. We're talking about people like Diana Hankins and Pat Roberts and Coach Scott Scalf, Dan Cody, who's right here to my right, Rose Zaha, who was my teacher, who I was so thrilled to see today and just lit me up by telling me that I had a great smile, and that was what she remembered about me. And Bob Reeves, who's here today and told me to hurry up because the Browns are on. Lisa Crane, Jason Anderson, Lucille Esposito, the incomparable Lucille Esposito, and of course the McIntyre sisters, Patty and Mary McIntyre, to even be considered in the same stratosphere as that list of people that have had such, to me, have had such a huge impact over the years on the students, constituents, alumni, and really the Hoban family as a whole. I'm flattered, I'm honored and humbled to win this award as well. So thank you to everyone that had a hand in me winning this, and I gratefully accept it, and I accept it with gratitude and humility. So I did write a speech, kind of a short speech about what Hoban has meant to me and my family. I wrote it, I read through it a few times, and it was terrible. So I threw it away. And you know, Catherine told me last night, my wife told me, you better get a speech ready. You better practice something, work on something. She texted me during homecoming, you working on your speech? How'd it come? She asked me when she got home last night, how's it coming along? I made some notes, and then I forgot my reading glasses. So I'm going to shoot from the hip a little bit, and I'll do the best I can, but I really just want to talk for a couple of minutes about what Hoban has meant to me in my life, right? The things that I think of when I think of Hoban and how it's impacted me, and how it's impacted my family. And really those are the reasons why, you know, I feel it's right and it's automatic to give back of my time and anything else that I can give to Archbishop Hoban High School. And let's start there, right? Because it all starts with family. Whenever you ask anyone what Hoban means to them, right? It's a pretty high percentage of people that are going to respond, family. It feels like family. New students say that. Alumni say that. Family. It feels like a family. Well, you know, there's no doubt about it. You know, Hoban has become, since I walked through the doors in 1986, it became part of my family, and it has woven itself into the fabric of what my family is today. You know, and I have my family members here today. They're Hoban people. You know, my wife Catherine, who Chris alluded to. You know, she leads. She impacts Hoban through her leadership, her integrity, her talents, her passion for the mission of Hoban High School and its students and its future. And she's done more for Archbishop Hoban High School in the last 3 years as administrator than I could have dreamt to have done in the last 30 plus as an alumnus. So that's a huge part of my family. Like Chris mentioned, I have 4 children, one of which is 9 years old, and she runs through the halls of Hoban like she owns the place already. So we're hoping that she becomes a Hobanite. We got a ways to go to work on it, but she feels really comfortable there, I'll tell you that. She knows who has candy, and so many people are here, she finds them real quick. You know, Chris mentioned my children. You know, my son Luke, class of 2025, is a senior, wrapping up his Hoban experience. My daughter Logan, who could not be here today, class of 2020, just made me a grandfather a week ago. So, you know, I let off the hook for showing up today. Yes, I have a new title of grandfather. My son Jake, who's back here recording for people that couldn't be here, poor guy, he always gets these jobs, I'll tell you what. My son Jake, class of 2018, and his girlfriend Katoro are here today. You know, Hoban graduates, Hoban, whether they know it or not, is in their blood. It's been in their blood since they were born. I always told them you could go anywhere you want. You go to St. B, you go to Walsh, whatever, but they knew the car was only going to Hoban. So, at any rate, you know, I'm grateful for their Hoban experience. I'm grateful for my experience as a Hoban parent. I'm confident that as the years go by, as it happened with me, they're going to recognize all of the gifts that they received from Hoban. All of the life lessons and integrity and just things I could go on and list over and over again. They'll realize those as I have and continue to realize through the years. So family, you know, means so much. And, you know, I was extremely blessed to learn these lessons from Hoban, and I was only there because of my family. I grew up with an amazing family, but like Chris alluded to, I didn't know anything about Hoban. 14 years old, grew up in Clinton, Ohio. You know, Hoban should have been on my radar. I should have known about Hoban, knew nothing about it. We were Norton Panthers. I mean, I had my 2 sisters, my sister Mary Ann, who couldn't be here today because she's ill, unfortunately, and my sister Karen. They had great experiences at Norton High School, got a great education, and my family was super involved. And that's probably where I got this trait, just being involved. We were every Friday night football game. My dad had a megaphone. We were involved in all athletic events, activities. My sister Mary Ann, who's not here again, she was known as the Queen of Norton, and I think half the student body was at our house every week or weekend. So I wanted to be a Panther. I was, you know, black and red. That's what I wanted to be, and that's where I wanted to go. Even as circumstances changed, in the spring of my 8th grade year with that school district, and some opportunities were going to be lost, my parents started thinking maybe there's other options for Brian. Maybe we look around and see if he can go to one of the parochial schools or another opportunity. Can we transfer him to Wadsworth, that sort of thing. And we were at Norton McDonald's, and Joe Rabusha, class of 1989, was there with his parents. Joe Rabusha, class of 66, his dad, and Patty. And my sister was best friends with Joe's older sister, Gina, who went to Norton. We were at Norton McDonald's, and Joe Rabusha had his Hogan baseball uniform on. He had just finished pitching a game, and we ran into them, and my parents got to talking about all the things that were happening at Norton and how they might be looking around. And Big Joe Rabusha, you gotta look at Hoban. Hoban is the only place to be. So, that's all it took. The Rabushas pushed us there. My dad and I went to visit Archbishop of Hoban High School. Didn't know what to expect. Met Sister Kathleen King, pretty great lady. A few minutes later, we met Clem Carabulad. And if you ever met Clem Carabulad, that charisma, he just exuded everything Hoban's about. And we were nice when we walked out that door. Sign me up for the placement test, whatever it takes, I'm going to Hoban. And for a kid that 24 hours earlier didn't want to do anything but go to Norton High School, where his friends went, where I thought my future was, where it was fine, we were involved, I was ready to take a leap of faith and jump into the unknown, because I just knew in my heart this place could make a difference for me. And it's made a difference for me in my life tenfold, in the life of my family. And I'm so grateful my parents did that for me. They thought there was something better, and they were 100% right, and it changed my life. There's no doubt about it. So my journey to Hoban was kind of neat. I didn't go to Catholic school, but I'm so grateful that I got to go there, and very lucky. And I noticed the differences right away, and it didn't take long to realize the impact Hoban was going to have on me, and the things I was going to learn. I grew up in Clinton, Ohio, like I said, went to Norton High School. Everybody looked just like me. Everyone looked exactly like I did. Everyone came from a similar background as me. That wasn't the case at Hoban. I was immediately thrust into a very culturally diverse environment, and it didn't take long for me to figure out that not everyone that I was walking next to in the halls or having classes with or making friends with had the same opportunities I had. They came from different socioeconomic backgrounds. Thank goodness my parents, Ed and Sharon Souse, they had the means to send me to Hoban without assistance. We were very blessed. They worked very hard, and I was extremely lucky. But I found out pretty quick that not everybody did. And I found out that they were there because of the generosity of others that came before them. Alumni and friends of Hoban and people that valued a Hoban education and the opportunities Hoban presented were able to give so other people would have that opportunity that didn't have the financial means otherwise. And so that, to me, just the lights came on. And this place is special. The spirit of giving was born in me right there. And I think it's only grown since then. And I think it was reinforced years and years later, 2011, 12, whatever it might have been. Mike Delmenico, Jeff Stetz, Brother Ken Haders, and Dr. Mary Ann Biden gave me an opportunity to come back. And like Chris alluded to, I was able to be the shepherd of the Hoban Fund and get a front row seat, to what the giving of others and the generosity of others and alumni volunteering meant to the kids. I mean, it was super impactful. And I felt it when I was a student, and it reinforced it for me when I was there for 2 or 3 years working in the advancement office, And it was phenomenal. So, to go call the phone-a-thon and do those sort of things, that's no-brainer. Absolutely, I'm going to do that. If it's going to help someone else have the opportunity to have the experience I had, absolutely, I'm going to do that. I got to Hoban, and like Chris mentioned, I was pushed. I was not a great student. I was not a great student in high school. I could have been, but I was better than I could have been. That's for sure. I was challenged every single day and pushed by my teachers. And I was really pushed, not to get straight A's or anything like that, but I learned pretty quickly that the teachers there wanted me to set higher expectations for myself, to be better than I thought I could be, to embrace doing the hard things, right? You can do this. You have potential. You can achieve what you don't think you can achieve. Chris mentioned Helen Traris. I remember I went and, I'm sorry, I'm going over 5 minutes here, guys. Bob's looking at me out there. He's checking the score. I mean, a lot of pressure. Bar's open, Bob, so we're okay. I remember Helen Traris, she called me up after class. She was an English teacher of mine, and she had one of my papers. She handed it to me. She says, "This is C- work. C- work." She goes, "You're an A+ writer. Do better. You owe it to yourself to do better, and you owe it to the people that put you here to do better. Reach your potential." So I think about that a lot. I think about that every time I do something at work, and I look at it and like, that's not my best effort, and I'll do it again. I think about Brother Joe Laban, no joke. I think about Brother Joe Laban every time I write an email. Do I need that word there? The word "very" is not acceptable. Get that out of it. I think about him a lot, and I graduated in 1990, and I think about those little lessons that I learned at Hogan. To stretch, do better, try harder, reach your potential. And I was grateful to be able to play sports at Hogan, so I played football. I mentioned Clem Caraboulet earlier, and I'll be honest, football was a huge vehicle for me to go to Hogan. They were going to cut football that north, so I had to find somewhere. I wanted to play football. I loved football, and everything about football was great, right? But Hogan was so much more to me than that. But the lessons I learned, and they all sound cliche, but they all ring true today still. The cliches, the things you learn in football, right? Perseverance. You learn from failure. You succumb to being part of something bigger than yourself. You have constant growth, always striving to achieve and reach that common goal. And accountability, that's a big one for me. I learned to be accountable in football, or it reinforced that trait, right? I had to, like Mr. Traris said, be better. Do your very best. Find your best and try to exceed that. I had to do that not just for myself, but for the guy next to me in football, right? That's what accountability is about. So I think about that a lot in life. Who am I accountable to? Am I doing my best for my family, those that I'm accountable to? I mean, I was so grateful, to be able to play football. And one of the main reasons that early on I was grateful that I played football at Hogan is when I came there, I knew two people. I already mentioned one of them, Joe Bushick, who was a year ahead of me and was so cool, he wouldn't talk to me. And the other guy came in with me, but I didn't know anybody else. I didn't go to a Catholic grade school. I didn't know anyone. So I showed up at Downfield in July of 1986 for football practice. Knew no one. Scared. I was scared, man. There's no doubt about it. But man, what a leg up I had when the first day of school came around a few weeks later, and I had a boatload of friends already. People that I was already growing relationships with, right? And really, when I think about it, when I step back and think about my experience at Hoban, so many things I've taken away from being a student, being an alumnus, being a dad, being a husband of an administrator, are the relationships. I mean, I have so many amazing relationships in my life because of Hoban High School. And I still have them today. People have enriched my life just by being at this school. I've already mentioned some of them. I mentioned Jeff Stetz, who pulled me in, who really kept me connected to Hoban High School through his job in the advancement office. He would reach out to me all the time. Can you come back and do this? Why don't you come back to this? Do this. He kept me connected, this guy. And then he pulled me in and had me work there. And I'm so grateful for that. And working there, I got to meet people I never would have met. Mike Del Medico, amazing person. Learned a lot from him. Marianne DeCenzo, who's here today, you can't help but learn something from her. She's so talented. And there's so many talented people. Dr. Biding, Brother Ken, I'm so grateful to have gotten to work in the same building as them and learn from them. And then you get to know people through events, Ron Zaha, through the Hall of Fame, just an amazing person. Got Tom Goodall, incredible man. The late Tom Goodall, just incredible. Don Schubert, how lucky was I to get to learn things from him, through the Hall of Fame. Mike Considine, God, I was scared and intimidated of that guy when I was a student. But what a guy! He's a great guy. I mean, and I wouldn't have gotten to know him at all if it weren't for Hoban, the things I've gotten to do, And I'm going to forget people. Brother James, just to spend time with him when I was working there, and then getting to know him in his last couple of years there through Catherine a little bit better. Just what a guy! I'm just blessed. And then my friends. I mean, God, the relationships I built with my friends, they're steadfast. 35, coming up on 35, well, longer than that now. We met in 86, got 38 years. God, we're old. Oh, I feel great though. We look great. I mean, there's some over here today. I still talk to these guys, play golf with these guys. Ryan Wagner, class of 1990, and his wife Carrie, my classmate, two of the most genuine people I've ever met in my life. Mark Charlarillo, my friend, class of 1990, my first friend at Hoban. He's here today. We've been through a lot together. One of my greatest friends. And then you meet people over the years through Hoban, through the association. My buddy Mike Josick, who's one of my best friends. He went to Father Worley, but I think he'd run through a wall for Archbishop Hoban, because he's been associated with the school. I'm very lucky. Relationships are the foundation of everything for me, and that all started at Archbishop Hoban High School. And it's that spirit of giving. That's the reason I do anything they ask me to do if I can do it. If they're going to ask me to announce something, yeah, I'll do it. Promenade, sure, why not? Call for the phone-a-thon, absolutely. Whatever it is, go to extravaganza, support an advancement event, 100%, I'll do it. Run the Hoban Football Parents Club, sure, Coach Tyrrell, I'll do that, no problem. And everything is a means to build relationships. And, every relationship is give and take. And I hope that I've given something to each of the relationships I have in my life that are associated with Hoban, because I've taken a lot. And that holds tenfold for my relationship with Archbishop Hoban High School. I have received so many gifts from this school. I hope that I have given something back and can continue to do that. I'll never catch up to what is given to me, but I'll continue to give because, that's just kind of what you do in a relationship. And people ask me all the time, or tell me all the time, thank you for all you do for Hoban. Thank you for all you do. I should be the one thanking Archbishop Hoban for what it has done for me. So I'll do that right now. Thank you, Archbishop Hoban. And to each and every one of you here today, I want to thank you for making this guy feel really special over the last few minutes. Thank you very much. Go Knights.